All right. Hi, everybody. Coach Allison back with week 12 for Defy Aging. So, this week we're going to have two separate circuits happening simultaneously. Each one has three exercises. Yes, we'll have to have probably multiple people at each circuit. So, if you have 4 or 5 people at each circuit, that's fine. We can double up at the stations. And we're going to go through it for 3 rounds. Excuse me. Round 1 is going to be timed 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Round 2 is 45 on, 25 off. So that rest time is very short. So let's be ready for that quick transition. And then round 3, we're going to maybe put on a piece of paper both of those interval structures, 30-30, 45-20, on pieces of paper, put them into a hat, and your coach or someone in your session is going to draw one, and that's going to be the timing you do for round 3. So you might be repeating the 30-30, you might be repeating the 45-25. So kind of it's a fun way to add that third set. Do complete all 3 rounds at whichever circuit you start at. Again, there's 2 different circuits, so some of the people will start with A, some will start with B. You're going to stay there for all 3 of the rounds. After the 3 rounds are completed, then everyone switches, swaps. I always put those 2 words together. And we repeat, do the 3 rounds again, draw for that 3rd round, draw again to see which timing structure you're going to repeat. I feel like I could have said that in a much more simple way. Hopefully everyone understands what we're doing. All right, but we have 6 exercises to demonstrate, so let's get to the demos. Exercise 1 this is in circuit A, but it doesn't really matter because some people are starting with A and some people are starting with B. It's a box squat. We haven't done this for a while. So a box squat, you need a bench or a box. A regular bench is fine as well. And you stand right in front of it. I like to put my heels literally right up against it. I also recommend starting maybe sitting on it so you just know where your feet should be and where it is. After that, it's tricky because you kind of sit, but you kind of don't. So a box squat is putting about 80 or 70% of your body weight. I'm just picking a random percentage, down on the box. So it's not a full sit like this. You shouldn't be able to lift up your feet, meaning you're not 100% fully down. However, it's not just a tap. So I missed it. We're not doing this and just tapping. You actually do almost fully sit. Pretend like you are sitting on your couch or at your dinner table, and as soon as you are almost down, the doorbell rings, so you have to get right back up, or something silly like that. So that's what a box squat is. It takes a couple reps to get your bearings down. You might sit down too much the first rep. You might miss it completely and not even touch it on the second rep, and then you should kind of find the rhythm and how far down you have to go. Anyways, that is our box squat. That's the first exercise, the first station. Second one is mountain climbers. So this is a cardio move, definitely, but it's full body in the sense that it is quite challenging. So I'm going to show you the incline option first. Incline would be an alternative method for anyone either unable to get to the floor or for whom maybe the floor version is more advanced than where you're at right now, and you'll get there eventually. But you can go on an incline. Mountain climber is this. You're in a high plank with a nice level body position, so we're having no bend at our hip here. And then start one leg in, and we kind of run the legs. See? Now, I want to make sure that you're not regressing to bringing up your hips too far like this. So definitely keep those feet back. Okay? I think it's best to not touch that top foot to the floor. See how my top foot here is hovering over the floor? Now this foot's hovering over. Okay. There is an option to actually jump and simply change your foot position, kind of like a scissor jump. That would look more like this. Okay. But I would like everyone to try that first variety where you're just really cruising with the legs. So not touching that top foot to the floor. Okay, that's an incline version. Of course, we can do the harder version, which is the full mountain climber on the floor. Options are the same. So I'm not touching my top foot to the floor here. Okay, that's the hardest way to do it. Then we can kind of hop, changing foot position. Now, again, I'm not reverting to like my hips being way up here. I see that a lot with mountain climbers. So do be conscious of that. Your coaches will be looking out for that and might be telling some people to get those hips down. A lot of cardio, a lot of arms, abs, chest, shoulders, so kind of full body. All right, last station for circuit A is, I already forgot, a kneeling single arm reverse fly. Okay, I guess I could have done quadruped too in the name instead of kneeling, but we are in that quadruped position to start. Similar to last week, we had our kickback. Okay, so now we're going to work the back and the rear shoulder by doing a fly out to the side. I don't know the best angle to see. There you go. So does this one, similar to the tricep kickback, does not take a lot of weight. I'm using a 5. I would maybe personally go up to an 8 at the max. It doesn't take a lot of weight to do it correctly. If you go too heavy, you might have to like use too much momentum and fling like this. You might not be able to get high enough, in which case it's not being very effective. So pick a light to moderate weight. Elbow stays slightly bent. Can you see the slight bend in my elbow? We never lock the elbow in straight like this. That's just a no-no for the elbow. So we always have that slight bend in the elbow. Okay? Halfway through each set, we'll just switch sides. Just toss it on over. Oh, you can see the bend in my elbow really good from this angle. See how I'm not doing this? I'm doing this. Switch sides halfway through. And lastly, we're not doing like an elbow extension. So we're not, see how now my elbow is bending and extending? We're not doing that. The movement is here. Picture like wrapping your arms around someone to give them a hug. That whole arm is moving. That's the movement we're trying to replicate. For being a small movement, it's actually kind of complicated. Anyone not doing things on the floor, you're going to grab an incline, support yourself like this, and you have your weight doing that same exact movement. So floor versus standing, not a big deal, whichever one is best for you. That's our rear delt fly. Okay, we're moving on to circuit B, the second one. So the first station is going to be the agility ladder, and we're going to be doing bunny hops. It's almost Easter, right? I don't exactly know when that is, but I know it's close. So I don't have the ladder here. So we have the agility ladder out in front of us. All we are doing, it's easier said than done, but the concept isn't tricky. So all we're doing is jumping both feet into each of the boxes of the ladder. So hop, hop, hop. So you would get how if I had the boxes of the ladder, I'd be going into each one. And we want to try as hard as you can to jump both feet at the same time. Okay, so we're trying to avoid the leading with one leg. And it's okay if you do it first because it takes a few reps to get your bearings down a little. And however, if we have any issue with the impact, pain in the ankles, the feet, the knees, then I actually do want you to lead with one leg and turn it more into like a puddle hop. So still going from one box to the next, you kind of lead with one leg, doing more of a puddle hop. That lightens the impact quite a bit. So if the impact is of a concern to you, then you can do that instead. We're also learning to pick up our feet here. So we do want to use the ladder so that we're forced to pick our feet up a certain height to clear each run. So that's our agility ladder station. All right, we're going to hit some arms today, or this week, I should say. Last week, we had some isolated biceps with curls and triceps with the kickback. Kind of different to isolate those smaller muscle groups. So we're going to hit the triceps again this week with the tricep push down. So we have a band hooked up very high as you are able. And we have the palms forward on the handles like this. I like to stagger my stance for a little more stability. That's just my preference. Elbows stay tucked at your side, and we push straight down. And I want you to notice when my arms come up, my elbows aren't leaving my side, meaning they're not doing this. So we don't want the arms lifting forward like that. The elbows, actually it's the same cue as our kickbacks from last week, where I advised everyone to pretend you had a pin like in your elbow going into your side, and that elbow just stays there at all times. Okay, that's very important to isolate and hit those triceps. Secondly, I'll say don't compensate by shrugging. So we don't want the shoulders to protrude up while we're pushing down. So keep those shoulders pushed down as well. And we're going to isolate the backs of those arms, those triceps. You could, inhale the hair. You can step back a little bit to make it harder. Although if we need more resistance, I'd recommend going to a higher resistance band, because for the most part, we want this movement to be pushing straight down. We don't want it to be like pulling back. So you can choose the resistance that's appropriate for you. All right, lastly, we have some deadlifts, which we do quite often. So we're going to use dumbbells this week, which we've also done quite often. We switch between dumbbells and kettlebells, don't we? Romanian deadlifts. You're going to keep your back nice and flat as you hinge at your hip joint, coming down, pop your hips back. So it's not just leaning down like this and slouching, but you're hinging at your hip. Your hip starts here, ends here, because you're sticking your hips out and back. Keep those dumbbells very close to your shins, right along the fronts of your legs. We are not allowing the shoulders to round forward and down like this. I want you to see my position now, and I'm going to correct it. You can see how I pulled those shoulders back, and that drew the weights back into my legs, okay? So we do those quite often. That long explanation is more for our newer people, because I know our longtime people have done these dozens and hundreds of times. So dumbbell deadlifts for the third station. Okay, and for the team builder, we're going to be using a medicine slam ball here. We're going to do a side-to-side slam extravaganza. That's a silly name, but everyone's going to be in a circle, one big circle with your whole group. One person gets to be the lucky one to start, and they're going to do a side-to-side slam just one time. So I'm going to slam it on, notice how I pivot my foot, slam on one side, arch up and over, pivot your foot, other side. Now, I'm going to toss this ball to whomever. I might toss it to the person right next to me. I might toss it to the person all the way across the circle. Toss it to someone else. When you receive the ball, do what I just did. Again, one side, up and over, other side, and then toss it to someone else. We're going to do this for 60 seconds. Some people might get it 2 or 3 times. Some people might just get it once. So do your best to kind of make sure everyone gets the ball at least once. But yeah, that'll be kind of fun. You can test your reaction time, because you never know when the ball is coming to you. So be paying attention. And then we get that side work and the shoulder work and the power work, slamming that ball. All right, let's give it a try. Okay, everybody, that wraps up week number 12. So hope you're enjoying also the new warm-up and cool-down. I know it's been a couple of weeks now, so hopefully those movements are becoming more natural and just a little more comfortable at this point. Hope you enjoy week 12's workout. See you back next week.